Hey there, I'm still covering all of the toys that I bought back in December. This is the Disneyparks Star Wars The Black Series Droid Depot pack. This pack is incredible, especially for someone like me who doesn't have any of the figures that are from this set. This pack includes a KX security droid, a battle droid, a pit droid, a BB unit, and Babu Frik, all for good measure. We have a great cast of characters here on the front, and some really nice artwork that keeps to the theming of Galaxy's Edge. I have always really liked the packaging design that they implement there. Now this pack is complete with reuse molds, and I do believe the pit droid was entirely new at the time, so that was the way that they sold this to those who already had all of these other figures. Again though, I don't have the security droid, I don't have the battle droid either. I really wanted both of them, so this was a no-brainer for me. On the back of the box, we have the characters again and their descriptions too, a little paragraph on each of the characters here explaining their inclusions. Our security droid is actually a named character, K7R1, is found on display at the Droid Depot. Our BB unit is actually CB23, and the description here says that she was BB-8's replacement for Poe Dameron, and I believe she's featured in the kids series Star Wars Resistance or something. The pit droid is a simple pit droid, an amazing inclusion. Babu Frik is a genuine movie included character, which is really cool to see, and then the battle droid, chef's kiss, it's a perfect battle droid figure. I paid $75 for this at Disneyland in Anaheim. That comes to 125 NZD. While exploring Comic-Con and Frankensons, I was able to find quite a few of those gorgeous Phantom Menace battle droids for around 60 NZD, and here back home, the security droid from Jedi Fallen Order was eventually clearance to around $30 odd, but it was originally priced at 60, so I see this as a pretty good pickup, especially if, again, you don't own these molds already. The box is an open door window design, so we can have a look at the figures on the inside here. We have, again, some more art. It's the same art really, but it's been rearranged, and then we have another quick description on what the droids do in this universe. Finally, our grouping here of the toys all included. I was so happy to see this pack available while I was there. Let's just take a closer look. Out of the packaging here we have our droid figures. The only accessories that are included here come with the battle droid. Nothing too substantial, but it's a good thing that we at least have something going on here. We will actually start out with that battle droid. I really love the design of the world building from the Phantom Menace. The prequels are my personal trilogy, that's what I grew up on, so I have a nostalgic fondness for the Clone Wars era of Star Wars, and definitely for the merchandising era. Now the battle droid here has some damage printing around the entire body. This droid has clearly seen some battles, so it's helped to add some dynamics to that design. I'm not sure if that Phantom Menace figure release features damages and prints like this. It could just be how they justify the re-release here. I think I did see people online say that they really wish that this droid had some special printing though, like some ranking colors or something to separate it just a little, which I guess leads me to believe that no, this really is the exact same figure then, battle damaged and all. I've always just loved the shaping of the droids in these movies, and I love how fragile they all are because it makes for some really fun display ideas. Now the articulation's really exciting all across the board with each of these figures. Some really strange and unique movements here for each individual character. The battle droid here can rotate his head around, which also features some separate movements from the neck so that these can both move freely. The back of the head also has a little bend, these little dangly bits here, and the neck can be moved upwards and bent forwards so that you can fold the droid up, even more articulation on offer. The arms are really interesting. There's very minimal shoulder movement here for the outward bends, but we can rotate it all the way around. The forearm also has its own rotates, easy to move this around, bends in the elbows that go all the way forwards and backwards, and then we have a few different bends and rotates here for the lower arm and the hand. Insane amount of work was put into this guy, and all of these movements can be found on the other arm, which moves the exact same way. Now for the torso, I thought we had some rotates here, we don't, it's just some bends, and you can't get too much out of it since it's all kind of locked up in here. The legs can move forwards and backwards. There's no rotates here, it's just some bends in the knee, and the leg can close all the way up like so. Rotates in the foot and bends here too. Standing test, the battle droid is a little finicky because of those joints, but he can stand well once he's been positioned right. And yeah, as expected, you can totally fold him up just like they do in the movie. It's really cool that this was included actually. It was a feature I was really excited for, and I'm glad that the figure can do this. Even if it's not executed maybe entirely correct, I still think that it's a really great addition. He just folds his legs and his arms away like so, and then that bend in the neck to aim downwards. This is the best that I could kind of get it. It's great that you can do it though. I might as well cover the accessories now since he is the only figure that had extras included. We have his attachment piece for an antenna that goes on his back, and then we have a standard blaster for the droid as well. And you can actually customize him a little bit here by removing that backpack inclusion, which I should also show has this extended antenna piece up here. The backpack can also hold on to the gun, which slots into place on the side here. The figure just keeps getting better and better the more I play around with him. If we remove the backpack piece though, now we can attach our specialized part for some unique display options. Yeah, I can really see the appeal here at army building these guys. I don't think that the gun is supposed to be placed here like this, but I think it somewhat fits, so you don't miss out on that storage by displaying him like this. The blaster's pretty cool. It's nothing new or special though. The battle droid's hands are already molded to be holding the weapon, so it just fits into place nice and easily. easily. This is our security droid, who I always want to just call K2SO for the obvious reasons, but no, this is actually K7R1, who is a character that is found on display at the Droid Depot store in Galaxy's Edge, though this display doesn't seem nearly as lively as how Doc Ondar appears in his store. The body mold for the security droid is really awesome. He's really tall, he's got some really great lengthy limbs compared to your standard 6 to 7 inch action figure. I really love the color details on him as well. That black paint is very vibrant in comparison to all of the other guys in this set, and I like the hints of yellow here as well and the white paint that add that distinct look. I was really intrigued by these limbs because they seem like they might be very thin in their material, and that would cause some standing issues, but no, it's not like playing around with the General Grievous build. He functions pretty well actually. A quick size comparison with a Spider-Man figure to really show off the size difference here. Really cool, man. He's going to look really good on the shelf with all of the other Galaxy's Edge figures. Articulation, again, very unique. We have some head movements and the neck can move on its own as well, so movements in both of these sections here. The arms can actually bend outwards here, and it didn't look like they could at first, so it's really nice to see here. Rotates and bends are featured all in the areas that you want to see them in. Some elbow bends, but placed up really high on the arm this time, and rotates at both ends of the joint here, and the hand also has some bends and some rotates made available. Now the same movements can be said for the other arm because it moves the exact same way. This guy actually does have some rotates in his torso, so we can spin him all the way around. Bends in the legs too, which means that he can move outward, and we have some rotates here as well. Bends and rotates in the knee, a swivel in the leg, and the foot also has its own movements. Bends and rotates here in the ankle joint, and the foot can also bend side to side. Standing test for this guy, it's pretty similar to Battle Droid, it's just a little finicky sometimes, but then he's good to go. So this is CB23, who I wasn't all that interested in having from this set. It's just another BB unit, and I'm not too fussed on getting more BB units besides the main BB-8, but this droid actually kind of won me over in the end. There's something about having two of them just rolling around and bouncing together that's actually pretty fun to play with. The molds are the exact same besides the head difference. The ball is weighted so you can roll and move it around, and the toy will always just move straight back up. It means that you can get a little bit of some extra posing here and some mimicking of movements. So I don't really have too much else to say about this edition besides that I did eventually come around on the inclusion overall. It's nice paying for a pack that actually has additional characters without really raising that price. Granted, it's because the character here is a smaller piece compared to, say, the security droid, but she's not the smallest inclusion here. That would be this guy. Seems like Babu Frik was originally included as an extra accessory with a C3PO figure some time back, and that C3PO figure released some years ago. I personally never saw this figure in my stores. It's possible that he was never released here in NZ, like a lot of desired toy lines these days. Babu Frik is a crazy little figure with a lot of really impressive details. It always amazes me getting such small toy inclusions like this that feature articulation. I remember being so surprised with that Grogu figure from the Black Series that they released a couple years ago for the same reasons really. It's really hard to film something that's so small for review sakes. Babu Frik can move both of his arms, there's some rotates at the torso here, and the helmet visor can also move down on his face to be either worn or not. This is a size comparison between Babu Frik here and the Battle Droid. Insane, right? I've got similar feelings here as I do with CB23. The inclusion really wasn't that necessary to win me over as a toy collector. I would have been fine with just the Battle Droid, Security Droid, and the Pit Droid, but now that I see this small little figurine has articulation, I'm really happy with his inclusion. This brings us to the Pit Droid, who I think was the sought after addition here. I think people have wanted every droid for years now in the Black Series line, and to finally give us this iconic little fella from the prequels is really exciting. The Pit Droid is really fun. He definitely has it the worst with balance in his joints. His upper half feels quite top heavy, so my figure is always kind of struggling to just stay standing straight. He falls down quite a bit, and that's pretty much in character with the Pit Droids though, if you think about it. Pretty impressive with the details as well. You can see that the head has some robotics and some grooves on the underside here. He's smaller than the other two regular figure inclusions here, but not smaller than the Babu Frik and BB unit of course, so I'm surprised to see so much attention to detail was given to him here. Some highlighted bronze mixed in with some reddish brown, almost like a rust colouring, and the added silvers are a nice touch as well. Let's cover that articulation. He also has quite a lot on offer here. The neck can bend and move all the way around, and the head is on a ball joint, which leads me to think that the head can move on its own. It can, but it has some grooves on the neck joint, so it's a real struggle actually. Side to side works okay, up and down not so much. It also feels pretty loose after playing around with it for a while. Shoulder's got some very impressive movements here. We have bends and rotates and clavicle movements for such a small arm piece as well. The arm can fully rotate around, and we have a double bend joint in the elbow, though the bends are far enough away from each other that the arm can make the shape of the letter U, and his small hand can also rotate around as well. The same thing can be said for the other arm because it moves the exact same way. As for that torso, we've got some deep bends here for backwards and forwards, and I thought he might have some rotates here as well, but it actually all just comes from the hips. Leg features pretty similar movements to the arms and the shoulder joints as well. The legs can also rotate around. We've got bends in the knee and some rotates in the feet. Standing test here, it's been a little tricky because of that heavy torso, but otherwise it's okay actually. And just like the battle droid from before, this guy can also fold up just like he does in the movies and the TV shows. The pit droid just folds his arms and his legs, and he moves his head and neck in a very similar way to the battle droid, and this is about as close as I think I can get it. Again, it's not perfect to the movie's interpretation, but it is so cool that this feature was even considered, and it does a good enough job to impress me. And that is the Droid Depot pack from Galaxy's Edge. The inclusions of CB23 and Babu Frik are very unnecessary for the overall package for me, but they both turned out excellent and they made me thankful for their overall inclusions. The pit droid, I think, is the selling item here. It's a great fan favorite inclusion that helps fit in well with the Phantom Menace era of figures that we have. The folding up trick is really appreciated, though I am bummed on the heaviness of that figure with his joints. It's likely just an issue on my end really, though it may not be a concern for you. As mentioned, he's going to look really good next to my other Phantom Menace action figures. The security droid is also a really cool figure to have. K7R1 may not be the recognizable character that I want like the K2SO, but the body mold is still really cool to have, and he looks great next to Cal Kestis. I can just pretend that he hasn't been reprogrammed yet or something and add it to my Jedi Fallen Order display. Of course, the battle droid is one of my personal highlights from this pack, which again, to reiterate, it doesn't mean that the battle droid is the best figure here because it's probably the pit droid for the obvious exclusivity sake reasons, but the battle droid was the figure that I was chasing for quite some time now, and I had a choice to make. I could either pay 60 NZD at Comic-Con for just the battle droid on its own, I was considering it, or I could pay double for 4 additional figures. I'm thrilled to actually have that droid in my collection, and overall, the pack is great. It's a really good selling set. It's my only pack for Black Series figures that I have, and I think it's a great one overall. I hope you enjoyed watching this quick Black Series video. If you liked what you've seen here, there are a lot more Hasbro Black Series reviews up on the channel already. Thank you very much, take care.